Switzerland is what many people aspire to be: rich, beautiful, and in possession of a large amount of chocolate. The Swiss Super League has some lovely stadiums, but let's take a look at the second tier. Here are the Swiss Challenge League stadiums. We start off with Stadion Brücklefeld, which is 101 years old. If it were a human, it would be old. But alas, it is just a stadium, one that is old. There were plans for a new stadium and shopping centre to be built on this site in the mid-2000s, but the locals voted against it. Democracy in action. Switzerland is, after all, famously very democratic. They don't even have a sole leader. They have a group of leaders that vote on decisions. In fact, it is said that most Swiss families conduct a secret ballot to determine which restaurant they visit on any given evening. FC Aarau were in the top tier 10 years ago, and this stadium really didn't cut the mustard in that league. However, in the second tier, it does an adequate job of cutting mustard. Personally, I don't even cut my mustard. It seems completely pointless. Stadio Comunale. Despite the fact that Switzerland famously stayed out of World War II, this stadium's construction was delayed by it. It finally opened in 1947. Apparently this ground could in theory hold 20,000 spectators, but is restricted to 5,000. In the past that wouldn't have mattered too much. I mean, the club were in the 5th tier just 10 years ago. But now they're in the 2nd tier and 5,000 will still do for now. Much like the last one, this club has also had plans on building a new football-specific stadium that have yet to come to fruition. One thing the current stadium has over that design is that there's absolutely nothing getting in the way of the surrounding scenery. Stade de la Fontainette. Oh boy, I really love how Switzerland speaks so many languages. It really makes it easy for me to pronounce the names. I mean, I struggle enough with English as it is. I can speak English, of course, but sometimes I unintentionally mispronounce English words, for no apparent reason. The Fontainette in the name refers to a fountain or a spring that was located on this site back in the day. Spring or no spring, this is a lovely natural setting. It's leafier than, Sideshow Bob's front yard, presumably. You know, because he doesn't like rakes. But these leaves are alive, so the air here must presumably smell wonderful. The venue gained an artificial turf field in 2020, which sort of takes away from that natural appeal, but still a lovely ground overall. Stade Olympique. The Olympique in the name is more than just a name. It hosts an annual athletics event called Athletissima, in which many Olympians compete. It was built just prior to the 1954 World Cup, where it hosted some games, including the quarter-final where Switzerland went down to their Austrian neighbour called Austria 7-5. The stadium was home to this first-tier club until they built their own purpose-built home in 2020. When they moved out, these guys moved in. Stade Olympique is the biggest stadium in the league, but in this instance that is probably a downside, as the club average a crowd of just 1,200 or so. Couple that with the fact that there's a running track in between the stands and the field, and it makes for a lackluster atmosphere. Still, it leaves the potential for the club to grow. Stadion Grünfeld. Now, I don't speak German, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Grünfeld means green field. So confident am I that I'm not even going to look it up to double check. Okay, now that I've said that, I probably should just make 100% sure. Yes, Greenfield, obviously. Anyway, the story checks out. That's a green field if ever I've seen one. However, with a capacity of 3,200, this is the smallest stadium in the league, so there's not all that much surrounding the Grünfeld. But it seems like a perfectly pleasant place to watch football. Stade de la Couleuvrie. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this stadium is that it's situated just a stone's throw from the UEFA headquarters. They've got a lovely view of the body of water. What are they called again? They're like an ocean, but on land. It's not a land ocean. It has another name. Lake Geneva is one of them. Don't know. Anyway, whilst this complex is owned by the city, UEFA are actually the ones that operate it. They ensure that everything's well maintained. Despite this, it's not exclusively a football venue. The local rugby club and occasionally the Swiss national rugby team play here. I do love a nice big grass embankment. Out of context, that's a strange thing to say, come to think of it. Rheinparkstadion. Now, this is the odd one out in this league, and I'll tell you why. The shot you see here was taken from Switzerland, but the stadium is actually located in Liechtenstein. The Rhine forms the border between the two countries. It does seem serene, but actually it's a heavily fortified area, as the Swiss have long feared a Liechtenstein invasion as revenge for that Swiss incursion in 2007. So if you do decide to visit this stadium, be very careful as you make your way there. Make sure you're mindful of the paths you take, as there is a serious risk of IEDs or mines left over from previous battles. Rheinparkstadion also acts as Liechtenstein's national stadium. It may not be the best national stadium going around, but it can accommodate nearly a fifth of the country's population. Not many national stadiums can say the same.
Oi, what about me?
You're not a real country, Gibraltar.
I want a later
What? Is that like a Gibraltar dialect? I don't know. Little Arena is part of a greater complex that includes swimming pools, a hockey rink, but no Little. There is one just 500 meters away though. Just so you can be sure that this isn't some discreet form of advertising on my part, I will just say that there is a more than 0% chance that a child wiped their boogers on the baked goods that you see there. Anyway, this ground was established way back in the 60s, however, as you can probably tell, it has been redeveloped a lot more recently. It looks sleek and modern. Well, the main stand does. The rest of the ground is surrounded by uncovered concrete terracing, a technology that dates back to Jesus' times. They probably didn't use rebar back then though. The club shares the ground with an ALF team. By ALF, I'm referring to the European League of Football, Europe's preeminent American football league. Stade de la Maladière. This spectacular lakeside stadium lake. It's called a lake, obviously. This stadium is one of a kind. Whether you're looking at it from outside or within, the design is unique. My favourite aspect would probably have to be those striking red walls. Or maybe the lopsided nature of the roof. This venue does include a shopping centre underneath it. I don't think there's a Little though, but I don't care because once again, booger bread. I'm personally not interested in shopping, being the minimalist that I am. However, the primary function of a shopping centre at a football stadium is to satisfy your significant other that doesn't have any interest in football. It's basically daycare for them. But yeah, what a beautiful stadium. That is once again complemented by a stunning backdrop. This video has really made me want to visit Switzerland. I mean, I've been to Austria, which is basically the Switzerland of Central Europe, but Stade Municipal. This ground may seem unimpressive compared to the last one, and that's because it is. But unlike Stade de la Maladière, the main stand at this stadium is registered in the Cantonal Architectural Census. So, that means something, probably. It's registered with them as it was deemed to be reflective of its era. It's been here since the ground opened in 1960. There are, of course, some more modern additions, as this ground was renovated in 2019. What else can I say about this? Oh, of course. The closest Little is almost exactly 1 mile away from this ground. So there you have it, time to pick a favourite. I think I've got to go for Stade de la Maladière. Beautiful location, lovely red interior, and amenities galore. Who could want more? Now it's time for extra time. Throughout the video we saw French, Italian, and German names, but we saw nothing of the country's fourth native language, that being Romansh. Less than 1% of the country speaks it, so it's not surprising, but I'm going to shine the light on it today by teaching you all a bit of Romansh. Here is the most important phrase that you'll need to learn. Spustelia tia azen or da mia via da garasha. Which of course means move your donkey out of my driveway. I hope this has helped you in your romance journey. Thanks for watching, have a good one.